Hello, everybody. Jumrip Sua. A very good afternoon to everyone who are joining with us today, and welcome to SEAQIL Vodcast Live, episode 15. Podcast Live is broadcasted every Tuesday on the second and fourth week of the month at exactly 3 to 4 p.m. Western Indonesian time. So be sure to watch every episode of it. And it is my humble pleasure to greet the audience, to all the language teachers in Southeast Asia who have joined with us not only via Zoom, but also in the YouTube channel live. My name is Ati Sumiati, and I will become the host for today's episode of SEAQIL Podcast Live, episode 15. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, dear language teachers, in August 2022, SEAQIL has two series of podcasts with the theme of learning Southeast Asian's national languages as foreign language, Thai and Khmer. And for today's sessions, the second series, we will discuss briefly and specifically on learning Khmer language, when and how to start. So I'm sure that this topic will be and is going to be really interesting. And to talk more about this further, I have with me today as our resource person and also native speakers of Khmer language, Mr. Sreng Kim Srun. Good afternoon, Tiwea
Good.
Susday. Is it correct,
Uh,
Mr. Kim?
yeah,
Tiwea
yeah, yeah,
Susday. Okay.
yeah, correct. But to
Okay.
be sure,
Thank you for being here with us in this very lovely afternoon. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are so pleased to welcome Mr. Kim Srun, or Mr. Kim, a very special guest speaker coming all the way from Cambodia. Before Mr. Kim describes further about Khmer language, please allow me to briefly inform to you about Mr. Kim's short bio. Mr. Kim is a communications and also a coordination specialist of Asian Development Bank from May 2021 until present time. Mr. Kim has over 20 years of experience. Wow, amazing. Mostly working on information disseminations, public awareness, outreach, local developments, and also governance. And his areas of expertise are in education, capacity building, and human resource development, public relation, informations and communications, and behavior change, and there's so many other expertise that he has that I cannot mention one by one in these events, in these occasions. And Mr. Kim is also able to speak in three languages: English, Indonesians, and also French. And Mr. Kim, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you were also an English and also an Indonesian teacher for Cambodia people who wants to learn English and bahasa Indonesia. Is it correct?
yeah, correct. Yeah,
So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kim here with us is without a doubt a really resourceful person with many experiences. And we are so lucky to have him with us today. Okay, so before we begin, Mr. Kim, with your presentations, I would like to kindly ask you to probably able to greet the audience who are with us today. Maybe the use of a little bit of Khmer language. Please, Mr. Kim.
yeah. ទីបសួស្តីជំរាបសួរក្រុមការងារ SEAQIL ហើយនឹងជំរាបសួរផងដែរអ្នកចូលរួមរបស់យើងទាំងអស់គ្នាខ្ញុំគិតថាអ្នកចូលរួមយើងថ្ងៃនេះសិតតែជាលោកគ្រូអ្នកគ្រូនិងអ្នកជំនាញខាងភាសា Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and also SEAQIL team, and thank you for giving me the chance. And I think our participant here today is mostly a language teacher or language expert. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kim. So, Mr. Kim, your audience today, I would like to inform you before we begin with the presentations and also the discussions that your audience today are not only in this Zoom, but we also have audience that join with us in the YouTube live. And for those of you who have joined with us in Zoom, you will receive e-certificates and have the opportunity to receive a special gift or reward from SEAQIL for the best questions posed during the sessions. So therefore, later on, during Mr. Kim presentations, the audience may prepare a questions and make it as best as possible, because who knows that your questions may be selected as the best questions. And again, I would like to remind you, to the audience, to do not forget to fill the attendance list, which link later on will be shared by the committee. Thank you very much. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, what is so special about today's episode? What will we have in today's discussions? Mr. Kim will later on share with us on everything that we need to know if we want to learn Khmer language. What are those things? History of the Khmer language, the constitutions of the kingdoms of Cambodia and Khmer language. Why should we learn Khmer language and the purpose of learning it? Khmer language and also the structures of it. And where can we probably able to learn the Khmer language? And probably later on, Mr. Kim will show us a little bit of video which displayed about how foreigners learn the Khmer language. So those are very detailed and also engaging topic to be discussed by Mr. Kim, and also arouse the audience interest in finding out how to learn Khmer language. And I would like to remind the audience also that in the Zoom in particular, to post your questions in Q&A box regarding Mr. Kim's presentations later on. Okay, so Mr. Kim, shall we begin with the presentation?
Okay.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to ask you to kindly share your ideas and thoughts about the topics of the Khmer language. Mr. Kim, the time and place is yours.
Thank you, Ibu Ati. Chum riep sua long tiết. Yeah. Welcome again to our audience today. Before I started this presentation, I want to add a bit more about my experience beside my career as a information communication specialist. Before, I used to be language teacher. I teach my language to Western people and also some Indonesian people who are invest or work in Cambodia. Okay. My presentation today will be covered on about the Khmer language, the constitution of Kingdom of Cambodia related to Khmer language or our culture, and why we learn Khmer language. Khmer language is and its structure look like. The purpose of the learning Khmer language, where we can learn Khmer language, and the last one is the video of foreigner who learn Khmer language in Cambodia in the past. Okay, next please. Okay, Khmer language. Khmer language, or actually we can say only Khmer. We can call only Khmer, yeah, or Khmer language. But actually it's the official language and the script of Cambodia. Khmer or Khmer language has been influenced considerably by Sanskrit and Bali, especially in the royal and religious register through Hinduism and Buddhism. Because in the, I mean, like the religion book, I don't know, we call like Al-Quran of Indonesia, but Khmer language, Khmer we can take my book for religious people. Usually we have the Sanskrit and Bali language. Khmer language has been written since early 7th century. Khmer language is still being used in some family of neighbor countries such as Vietnam and Thailand, because we share the border. Maybe we have good relation, and then some exchange from one to another about the language. Okay, next slide. Sorry. Okay. This slide is talking about the constitution of Cambodia, mention about the Khmer language and Khmer culture. I just extract some article that are mentioned about Khmer language. As I mentioned earlier, Khmer language and the script is a official language. States shall provide free primary and secondary education to all citizens in Cambodia. This I found in some country we don't provide free education like Cambodia, but in Cambodia, free education for primary and secondary school. Citizens shall receive education at least 7 years or 9 years. So at least we promote or we push our citizens have education until 9 years. Okay, next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. Why should we learn Khmer language, or what is the benefit from learning Khmer language? I just summarize some key benefits that can be get from our learning. For example, if we can speak Khmer language, we can go to buy something. We speak Khmer with the seller, so we can get the better price. I mean, lower price than we speak English language when we want to buy something. I think this also happen not only in Cambodia, but in the other country as well. If we can speak their local, we will get the better price. And one condition of getting a Cambodian citizen, it's also they have to have or can speak some Khmer language or write some Khmer language. So that is one condition for foreigner that want to get the Cambodian citizen. And why they want to get the Cambodian citizen? Because they have right, after they get the Cambodian citizen, they have the right to buy land or house as the Cambodian people. If not, if they did not get the Cambodian citizen, they cannot buy land in Cambodia. Why? Because, if we buy as a Cambodian citizen, the price is lower than we buy everything as a foreigner. Reduce the risk or safer, get more friends. I want to mention that if we can speak Khmer when we are traveling or want to go somewhere, we speak to the taxi driver or tuk-tuk driver. If we can speak Khmer, they are not to cheat us or take us around or bring us to somewhere that are not safe. So because they think, oh, these people have been in Cambodia for a long time, that's why they can speak Khmer. And Khmer people also will be want to be friend with foreigner that can speak Khmer as well. Easy to know Khmer culture because when you learn Khmer language, usually we provide or send the learner to visit some Cambodian citizens that are produce local product, or to see the traditional dancing of my people, or visit the temple, old temple or Angkor Wat temple. Usually that is the way we should learn our language and also the Khmer culture. More chance to get job in Cambodia. Yes, because for some big company or ASEAN community, if we can speak English, we can get a job, but with some condition, they want us to get more local language. For example, if you want to work with the ASEAN Secretariat in Indonesia, so beside the English one, they sometimes they said it would be advantage if you can speak bahasa Indonesia. So I don't know, one time the Secretariat of ASEAN can shift to the other country as well, maybe, or yes, some company that are based or come to invest in Cambodia, like World Bank, ADB, Amazon, Moderna, Unilever, they also want staff or expert not only can speak English but might as well. That would be their benefit for them. Okay, next slide. Okay, now we come to what is the Khmer language and the structure. Its structure look like. Khmer language, it's we have 33 consonants and 23 vowels. Maybe a bit, I mean, too many, but yeah, that is the specially or unique of my language. The next slide, I will give you the detail. What is the consonant of Cambodia look like and the vowel of Khmer language look like? And related to the structure or the word order, I want to highlight you that Khmer language is different from English language because we have noun and then adjective. English language we have adjective and then noun. So that is the way we different from English, and I think it's, but this kind of order is similar to some other ASEAN country language as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, here is the consonants of Khmer language. Maybe a bit hard to write for the citizen that usually use ABC, but for like Thai or Laos, so we have similar consonant or vowel, so that it's easy for them to learn Khmer. But actually, as I know, Khmer consonant here, it's similar to Javanese language as well, because I used to hear like ko 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 ngo cho 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 noro. in Indonesia, so it's similar to the Japanese language, I think. Next one. Okay, here is the vowel of the Khmer language. A bit different from A, B, C alphabet because I want to explain you a bit about that. You see the box and the black one, the first one, for example. So the black one is the vowel of Khmer language. The box, it is the place we can, the consonant should be like there. So the observation is the vowel of Khmer can be at the left side, the right side, upper side, the bottom side. So a bit complicated if we used to learn only ABC, but that is unique of Khmer language. Okay, next slide. Yes. Okay, this slide I want to show you some example of our Khmer language compare with the Indonesian bahasa Indonesia and English. For example, yeah, is it too small or not? But I can read it. The first one is we say nearest art. Khmer we read nearest art. I just give you the function. Nearly it's noun and then art is adjective. So the compound noun it's like that, noun and adjective. So nearest art, not art nearly. So that is the Khmer language. And yeah, it's look like the next one I give you example. It's like pretty girl. So we are different from English. Indonesia, it's the same as, I mean, the order is the same. It's gadis cantik, not cantik gadis, right? Yeah. Okay, and I want to show you some compound words that are similar to Indonesia. For example, we have the same compound word and the meaning will be the same as well. For example, roteh plung. You see, roteh it's kereta and plung is api. So we call roteh plung. So like Indonesia kereta api. So meaning is the same. So we just combine the word and then become the full meaning of the word. And the right side, it's I give you an example of the sentence. For example, is it too small maybe? But the red one, I can read in my and the bottom at the bottom I write the phonetic of international phonetic. For example, here we read. We pronounce Khnyom and Srolang, the blue one. Here at the bottom is Srolang, but it's I mean after we send from one to another, the position has changed, but actually Srolang it's under the second one. Soខ្ញុំស្រឡាញ់ភាសាខ្ញុំ so ខ្ញុំស្រឡាញ់ភាសាខ្ញុំ and so here it like ខ្ញុំ is subject and ស្រឡាញ់ is verb and ភាសាខ្ញុំ is objective. Here I want to mention the special point is like this. For example, you see ខ្ញុំ at the beginning is subject and ខ្ញុំ at the last one is I mean adjective pronoun. So it is, we write the same, but when we change the position, it can be their function. It change as well. So it's easy for us when we try to write or speak Khmer language. We just change the position like that. It's similar to Indonesian language, like saya mencintai bahasa saya. So saya the same as saya in front and saya at the end of the sentence. So one is subject and another one is pronoun, possessive pronoun, adjective pronoun. And yeah, it different. I give you an the language of English language. I love my language. So here we found different. I have to change to my, so it's different from my. My we still Khnyom and Khnyom. So that is the difference between my and English language. So next slide. Okay. This slide I want to talking about what the purpose of learning language based on my experience. I teach the foreigner so far. Actually, there are group of people that have different objective or purpose to learn Khmer. For example, some group said, I just want to learn only speaking, no need to write. So when we teach them, we teach in, we read in Khmer, but they write or they note in their own language. Or some people that know phonetic, they can note in phonetic, but mostly they can note in their own language. And usually they also selected the word or the sentence that they meet from their day-to-day work or implementation in their company. So they get the word and then come to ask me, what is the Khmer language look like? What should we say for this and like that? So we follow their intent, what they want to learn. And some group want to learn to speak and also write. So that is also have. But to write Khmer language as well, it's, as you mentioned, as you see, I mentioned earlier, maybe a bit difficult, but for the beginning, but at the end, it will be easy as well. Another group want to learn as academic program or Khmer language literatures, but so far we don't have so many foreigners that are got the certificate of Khmer language literature. Okay, next slide. Here I want to tell you about where we can learn Khmer language. Yes, actually, right now we have many ways to learn Khmer language. Like other language also, because of the technology, social media, because of the website and so on, we have a lot of means to learn different language, in which Khmer also one of that. Here I just select some institutes that provide Khmer language. For example, at the Institute of Foreign Language at the Royal University of Phnom Penh, we also provide the Khmer language to the foreigner who wish to learn to read and write or speak, but just, I mean, we just provide the short course. For example, 1 year we have 4 grade, 4 level for the foreigner who want to learn Khmer. And beside that, I raised the private sector NGO. We also have NGO that are provide Khmer language and culture. Many foreigners that come to Cambodia, they work in Cambodia and then they want to learn Khmer because it's easy for them to work with a local community or contact or approach our government, our policy maker. So they learn Khmer. So that's why some NGO provide Khmer language course for them too. Their website, social media. And beside that, we also have the long distance learning. So yeah, it's not a new thing for you all, I think, learn distance learning. And especially for this period, I mean, especially COVID-19 pandemic. So we long distance learning or online learning is very useful. It can be replaced the face-to-face or learning person in person. Okay, next slide. Yes. In addition to that, I provide you some page or some channel that provide Khmer language. Here I select Center for Khmer Language Study. That is the one provide Khmer language and it is the popular one in Cambodia. Many Western come to work and learn in this center. And if you want to get more information, you just click on the link website next to this. And another one, Khmer language classes for foreigner. I also provide the link for this class, khmertutor.com, and Education Broadcasting Cambodia, or we can say EBC Kid. The last one, it's the channel that you can learn Khmer language, but especially for the kid or for the, I mean, and not for the adults, that's just for the kids starting from 6 to 12 years old. Because with this one, they provide especially like cartoon video for them to learn. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. And the last slide, as I promised earlier, it's the video express about foreigner who learn Khmer language at the CKS. So I think you can enjoy with this video, and after that, if you have any clear question or want to ask or clarification from my side, please note it and can ask me after that. Thank you. Madam Arti. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kim. We shall watch the video first, Mr. Kim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to CKS, the Center for Khmer Studies, located in Siem Reap in Phnom Penh. CKS supports social sciences and humanities-related research on Cambodia and the greater Mekong region. In pursuit of this mission, we offer research fellowships and training programs for Cambodian and international scholars to facilitate the realization of their research projects. One of these programs is the Khmer Language and Culture Study Program, a 6-week intensive training program located in the heart of Cambodia at our office in Phnom Penh. KLCP consists of an accelerated learning course in the Khmer language and also develops a strong understanding of contemporary Cambodian society and culture. Participants acquire the necessary knowledge to engage in academic research and professional endeavors within all segments of Cambodian society throughout the program. It has been held since 2002 in collaboration with the University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Chomrip Sur, Kinyom Chmu Eli, Kinyom Mofi Prate Amare, Rorat, Tennessee, Rio no SEAQIL Vodcast, Idaho. I came to Cambodia to study Khmer language and culture. Khmer class is very helpful and really informative. I think it's interesting. I have a big interest in Southeast Asia and Cambodia, and I think that the language and culture are very interesting, have a rich history.
ជំរាបសួរសួស្តីខ្ញុំឈ្មោះ Luca ខ្ញុំមកពីប្រទេសអ៊ីតាលីខ្ញុំនៅរាជធានីភ្នំពេញរៀនខ្មែរនៅ CKS. My advice is to come here and to be very focused on the program that is very intensive. You have to do your homework every day and be really focused on the program because it's very hard but very useful. In just few time, just 6 weeks, you can start to use Khmer language and go everywhere in Cambodia and try to speak with people. So it's really interesting and really strong program.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okun,
you.
how do you say thank you in Khmer?
Yeah. Okun.
Okun.
Yeah.
Yes, Okun. For a very enlightening and also very engaging presentations that talks about learning Khmer, when and how to start. So this really beneficial in particular for all the language teachers across Southeast Asia, and we are so grateful that some of the issues that have been mentioned previously have also been addressed in Mr. Kim's presentations. That is so interesting, Mr. Kim. So if I may give a little bit of conclusions to what you have presented today, Mr. Kim, that the history of the Khmer language, it has a very long history from the 7th century. And some countries in Southeast Asia still use the Khmer language. So in terms of the government support, it turns out that based from your slides previously, that the government has published laws in regards to the use of Khmer language in Cambodia. And don't forget also that we have many benefits. Mr. Kim has mentioned about this, about the benefits that probably we will get or we will gain if we are able to speak Khmer language. And one of them is to be able to gain citizenships of Cambodians. So if you want to be a Cambodian, you have to learn the language and also the cultures, obviously. And Mr. Kim has also shared with us the structures of Khmer language, having 33 consonants. And this is the most interesting, Mr. Kim, 23 vowel sound. So many vowel sounds in Khmer language. And also Mr. Kim shared with us how the structures is also more or less similar to the Indonesian language structures. And Mr. Kim shared with us also a little bit of practice of pronouncing some of the Khmer words. And the very last of the presentations, Mr. Kim gave us some kind of insights in the forms of videos about how foreigners learn Khmer language. Okay, Mr. Kim, if I may probably have a little bit of discussions with you about your material, because I find it really intriguing. So probably the first questions that I'm going to ask you, Mr. Kim, in your in my previous mentionings about your short bio, you said that you have had this kind of experience becoming a language teacher. So teaching Khmer to foreigners, teaching Indonesians, and also teaching English. So Mr. Kim, based on that experience, what is the best and the most effective way to learn and to teach language, especially Khmer language? Mr. Kim?
Okay, thank you for the very good question, and also very broad. If we want to talk it
Yeah.
more detailed, it takes a bit longer. But
Yeah.
let me try to summarize. I think based on my experience to teach Khmer language, is that the one that I found not far different from teach or learn other language is for the new word. I mean, for one day we should not provide or teach them too many consonants or too many words. So based on my experience and also based on what I learned from the Cambodian British Center that provide me on what is the best technique how to teach language.
Yep.
It should be only 7 new words per day. So based on the 7 new words, we provide them, I mean, the pronunciation clearly one by one, and then write clearly and the meaning, and then we provide them to I mean repeat or to practice with the question in questions structure. For example, we use when, why, what, how, with the 7 words that we have teach them. So after that we will create the game or role play for them with the new word, with the sentence, with the question that we teach today, that moment. So after this 1 hour or 2 hours, our student maybe they just get only 7 words, but with 7 words they can ask, they can write, they can pronounce, they can use or answer clearly. That is one that I found for in general, not only Khmer but in English or in bahasa Indonesia. And another one, when we said for learning language, Khmer language, when we want to have the pronunciation like the native speaker, for me, I found it's not so easy to get to have the pronunciation like the native speaker, especially Khmer language. My experience for Indonesian or for American language foreigner, they cannot speak Khmer language. I mean, the pronunciation as a Khmer people, it's hard for them to follow. But they can speak, we can understand actually. But if we want to get the pronunciation as the Khmer native speaker, it's better we learn it from the kid. I mean, starting from the 5 or 6 years, not wait until we are old and then we start to learn. So it's hard to practice the pronunciation as their local language. And the best way, if we want like that, it should be we come to that country. For example, you want to be a speaker, speak like native speaker. We have to go to that country or send our kid to that country. That's why that is we will can speak as the native speaker. And the easy way for me to teach my language to foreigner. I usually I have I read for them clearly, and then they can note, as I mentioned, note as they hear, and then they have to try to repeat as what I read for them. But it's not easy or the same as I pronounce, but we try to read or repeat again. We after I hear they read it, I know what are the difficulty, what's wrong with their pronunciation. So based on that, we change or tell them how to, to blow the air, open the mouth or close the mouth for that words. That is my experience. Is it answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. Very detailed and very thorough, compact and detailed part and parcel of the answers. Okay, so Mr. Kim, a very interesting answer coming from you, Mr. Kim. So it seems to me that you're focusing on don't teach them all that complicated consonants and also vowel sounds to them. And in particular, probably all of those script alphabets, but probably what they need to learn first is in terms of the pronunciations. They have to furnish their pronunciations first and make it probably similar to that of native speakers of the Khmer language. And probably the best effective way that you can suggest to the other language teachers how to teach language is also teaching them pronunciations, and also try to make them listen to what you said and make them repeat again what you said. And if they make some kind of mispronunciations of probably some one or two words, and you will directly revise their pronunciations. And also learning by playing. I really do like that idea, Mr. Kim. Learning by playing. Yeah. How many hours actually do you spend for this learning by playing?
Actually, we provide 1.5 hour course, so I think long enough for them, and very enjoy with their activity.
Agree with you.
And make them remember rather than just read the book.
Yes.
Read the book
Remembering all the theories. Exactly, Mr. Kim. I totally agree with you in this idea. Okay, so Mr. Kim also emphasized on the ideas that if you want to learn language, any kinds of language in particular, probably because we are talking about Khmer language, try to start learning the language at the age of 5 to 6 years, because the getting older you are, probably you will have this kind of difficulty in learning the language. That is a very important information, Mr. Kim. So learn the language if you are like probably 5 to 6 years of age. Thank you, Mr. Kim, for the answer.
Yeah, I just want to clarify a bit about that. I mean, it's difficult to follow the pronunciation as the Khmer speaking. But if we just want to learn to understand or to write, it's no need to to start when we are young. So, but if we want the pronunciation as Khmer language, it should be start when we were young.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much. A very insightful answer. Thank you, Mr. Kim. So again, Mr. Kim, still referring to your material previously, during the long experience of you teaching the language, Mr. Kim, probably you have some kind of funny experience during the teachings of Khmer language to other foreigners or language learners. Sorry.
Oh yeah, of course. I think maybe most of our teacher or attendant they here also have it when meet it when we teach language. For me, I remember one day my student, when I come to their house, I just open the door and he see me, and then he said, "Fucking you," for example. And I know, oh yes, because he copy from other people. So he copy from other people. I know, but I feel I keep quiet, and then until we start the class, I ask him, would you say fucking to me and like that? What do you think? What is the meaning? And what do you hear from? He told me he hear from in that house we have the cleaner and like the house attendants.
Yeah.
So or cooker. Yeah, they are two girls. They are talking, playing funny for them, and then they said fucking, but they still, laughing with that between that two, and our student hear that he think it's a good word. That's why the people after say this word, and they still laughing and enjoy playing with them one another. But because they are friends.
Yeah.
But the word fucking here is not the English word. Fucking in Khmer, for example, my word. Khmer people talk Khmer, and they copy from what they hear and say to me. After they said like that, they also laughing, ha 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 ha. They think it's a good word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually it's not good word. So be careful when we just hear and people saying, and then we use the word to our friend, our respectful people without know the meaning. It can be embarrassed when we use that word.
Exactly,
But,
Mr. Kim.
Yeah, that is one of my experience.
Sorry, truly sorry. So at first, what I have in mind is also the meaning is in English. Then it turns out that it is not the English word.
No, the Khmer word. Because I teach them Khmer language.
Yeah.
They hear Khmer people talking, playing with that word, and know they will use this word with me, and then when I come to their house, just see their face and then say that word, and then ha 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 without know the meaning.
They know the true meanings. Okay, so did you tell them what is the real meaning?
Oh yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. That is my experience. So that is one thing.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kim, for the answer. Okay, so probably I also have that kind of experience throughout my my professions as a teacher. Also, I really do have some of them funniest and also the saddest story from my experience. So okay, Mr. Kim. And talking about your experience, because I'm quite amazed with your 20 years of experience. In terms of the teachings of language, also, Mr. Kim, what are the kinds of things that you found difficult? What are the difficulties in teaching and learning Khmer language in particular?
Yes, as I has mentioned earlier before, pronunciation is not easy. I don't know, but English maybe for me it's a bit easier than Khmer language, because for Western people, their pronunciation, the way they pronounce, it's a bit different from the way we pronounce or read Khmer language. So it's hard for them to pronounce similar to us. Some word, after we teach them, we try to correct them again and again, but it's still difficult for them to say or sound as we told them. That is experience in Khmer language.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim, we do have some more questions coming from the audience. If you may allow me to read. This is a very interesting questions, but Mr. Kim, truly sorry because the availability of times. Would you please be so kind as to answer the questions in a very short sentences, perhaps, Mr. Kim?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first questions from the audience coming from Muhammad Alif Sobri bin Abdul Wahab from Kota Baru District Education's Office. His question is, how is Khmer going to convince international students to equip themselves with this language? What would be the added values for them? So how the Khmer would convince the international students to equip themselves with this language? And this questions number 2, what would be the added values? What are the strength of this Khmer language? Mr. Kim?
Yes, because Cambodia and Khmer language, Cambodia is, we can say, small country, so I don't think we are very or as popular as the big country, but at least we have the value for them. Khmer, we have, I can say we have the long story of language and culture. Beside that, if we're talking about World Heritage, as you or most of you have know, we Cambodian may be the country that have Angkor Wat temple or compound of temple that are very, very old and very, popular, and also it is the World Heritage. So that is, I think, if we or they want to know, to study about the World Heritage and the long history of culture of the country, maybe you can or you should study or come to research in Cambodia. And their benefit of the Khmer language, of course, if we want to work in Cambodia, in the ASEAN community, so in the future, I think maybe one day ASEAN Secretariat or ASEAN country can promote Khmer language as the important language as the other language. So if you want to work or you want to know deeply about Khmer people, culture, tradition, so it's better you have Khmer language. We talk with the local people with the local language, that we get more answer than we speak English.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Kim, thank you very much for the answer. That is so very beautiful, and also answering the questions posed by Mr. Muhammad Al Sobri. Mr. Kim, we still have 1 minute to go, and I still have one questions from the audience. So if you may probably again make a very short answer.
Sure.
Sorry, Mr. Kim. So the question is, the question is coming from Ibu Nur Rahmawati from UIN Raden Intan Lampung. Her question is, Khmer is a truly difficult language for foreigners, harder than Mandarin to speak, and harder than anything other than Chinese or Japanese to read. So my question is, based on your experience in teaching Khmer to foreigners, how long does it take to master the language without coming to Cambodia and being exposed to that language? That's the first question, Mr. Kim. And then the second question, is there any Khmer test like TOEFL for English or UKBI for Bahasa Indonesia? For Khmer language, is there any language test? Okay, so that's the two questions.
Yes, the second question, I say we don't have like mechanism or center that provide the Khmer language testing like TOEFL or IEL yet. But in the future, we will have other language. And the first question is,
how long does it take to learn Khmer without going to Cambodia or exposed to the language?
Yeah, it's this. Just for speaking, listening, we can use 1 to 2 months. So 1 to 2 months every day. One day we can learn 1 and 1.5 hour. You can speak and communicate with my language. And I do not agree with her 100% that said my language is difficult to pronounce or most difficult than Japanese or language. Because when you just hear a bit like this, it looks like difficult. But when you come more closely or know more clearly about my language, it's not so difficult. For me, I think Chinese is a bit hard than Khmer language, because Khmer language, we don't have like, some language, just pronunciation strong and weak, the meaning has changed. The same word, but when we, strong stress somewhere, the meaning will change. But Khmer language is not like that. So I don't think we are so hard to learn Khmer language. So it's easy when we come to learn. No, don't worry. Yeah.
Okay. No pain, no gain. You have to be able to learn to be able to master the Khmer language. I agree with you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim, so truly sorry because the time is very limited. I have to end on the today discussion. Okun, Mr. Kim, for the sharing and also the discussions, which I am very much convinced are really insightful and also very fruitful for all of us, the language teachers, but also the Asian community. We have been equipped with knowledge on the learning of Khmer language by Mr. Kim, and hopefully that this information will contribute in our learning of Khmer language in the future. Suppose you're going to go to Cambodia. I'm truly sorry, but the time limits our very engaging discussions. To Mr. Kim, truly sorry. To the audience, very sorry. And sincere apology to the audience whose questions are still left unanswered. Hopefully, we have the opportunity to meet again sometimes in the future. But before we end today's discussions, please kindly, I would like to ask Mr. Kim to make some kind of a closing statement. A very short one, Mr. Kim. Truly sorry.
Once again, thank you, SEAQIL management team, also technical team that provide me the time or chance to present my language or the way how to teach and learn language as well. And especially our special audience today that spend time to listen and discuss with me today. I know you all are the language expert or teacher, so I think it can be used full for you for some level. So again, thank you, and hoping this session can make you a bit more interested with Khmer language. And if you want to know more, you can contact SEAQIL or contact me, and then we can. I'm commit to assist you to know more about Khmer language. So please feel free to let me know if you want to know more. Thank you so much, our audience and SEAQIL.
Okay. Akun, thank you very much, Mr. Kim. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our podcast. Again, I would like to inform you that those of you who have joined via Zoom, you will automatically receive a certificate if you have filled the attendance list through the link shared by the committee. And as promised in the beginning of our podcast, that we will select the best questions for today's episode. The selected participants with the best questions will be contacted by the committee through the email address that you wrote down in the attended links. We would like to remind you that all are free of charge, so including the delivery of the gift or the reward from the SEAQIL to the participants chosen for the best questions. Okay, so the warm discussions that we have today with Mr. Kim this afternoon served as the final closing to the series of learning Southeast Asian's national languages as foreign language, Thai and Khmer, broadcasted this August 2022. SEAQIL would like to thank the resource person, Dr. Kiat, and also Mr. Kim, who have shared their knowledge and experiences which surely inspire us, members of Asian community, to learn Thai and also Khmer language. And if you missed today's sessions of the podcast, don't worry. You can always visit our YouTube channel, Simeo Kitaps in Language, and watch the episodes. And don't forget also to kindly follow SEAQIL social media, Facebook, Instagram, and also our Twitter to keep you updated with the SEAQIL latest informations and agenda of various activities. SEAQIL Vodcast Live will continue to accompany you on Tuesday afternoon, on the second and also on the fourth weeks of each month at 3 to 4 p.m. Western Indonesian times, September to November. There will be 6 more episodes coming up for the next months with the theme Freedom to Learn through Language Learning. Merdeka belajar melalui pembelajaran bahasa. Well, if you are so curious about what topics will be discussed in those themes and who will be the resource persons, please keep updated with our SEAQIL website and also our social media. And once again, thank you for your time, Mr. Kim. Thank you to all the audiences in the Zoom and also in the YouTube Live for your attentions. Look forward to serving you in the next episode, and truly sorry for any shortcomings during me hosting today's sessions. Thank you very much. Cheers and take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim.
Thank you, Mbak Ati. Thank you, our audience. Thank you semuanya.